What's up, MVP? Welcome back. Streebo here with you again. It is Halloween weekend 2008, and of course you know what that means. If it's Halloween, it must mean Saw. That's right. This weekend I went out to see Saw 5, as I have gone out to see Saw in 2004, Saw 2 2005, Saw 3 in 2006, and Saw 4 in 2007, you know, so I thought I'd go on and continue the tradition. Saw 5 tells the story of an FBI agent as he tries to untangle the mystery of the continuing Jigsaw murders, even though Jigsaw has been dead since the last movie, but amazingly enough, he continues to kill people from beyond the grave, so to speak. That's about as far as I'm willing to go into the plot or whatever, because if you start to get into too many specifics of this film, you know, you start to run the risk of throwing out spoilers, and I hate to do that to anybody that hasn't seen any film, you know, whether I like it or hate it. And you know, I'd rather people enjoy these things, view them on their own and experience them on their own without having someone spoil everything for you. So what I want to do is throw out what I like about the Saw films and what I don't like about the Saw films. First of all, I like the fact they come out on Halloween. You know, it reminds me of when I was growing up in the 80s, and you know, horror flicks used to pop out on Halloween. I mean, that's what Halloween is for. You know, you want to see a good scary movie. You want to go out with your girlfriend, or you want to go out with your significant other, and just be scared, sit in the dark for, you know, 2 hours, forget about everything, and you know, just have the bleep scared out of you, you know. And the Saw films have, you know, taken over Halloween. I mean, they come out every Halloween weekend. I guess it's the weekend before Halloween, and people go see it in droves. All of them have made just tons and tons of money. Two, I like that people seem to connect with it. I mean, maybe it's the younger generation. I mean, the more people that seem to enjoy it, they seem to be younger nowadays. I hate to feel like I'm getting older, because when I was growing up and a big fan of Friday 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, the older generations, you know, they weren't fans of those films. They thought they were just garbage. You know, a lot of things that are said, derogatory comments or adjectives that are aimed towards the Saw series now, you know, they're just repeats of what were aimed towards all the slasher films that I grew up enjoying in the 80s. So, you know, I try not to hurl those kind of comments out. So I like that these films connect with a generation. I like that is happening, that they are connecting with somebody, that there is a generation out there that is, you know, going crazy for these films, okay? Now, what I don't like about these films is basically what I've said in every one of my reviews since Saw 2, and even applied a little bit to Saw 1, is that they're just generally filled with unlikable, kind of despicable people, and they're just kind of convoluted. I mean, unless you are just immersed in the minutia of the Saw universe and the Saw continuity of every character from every movie and what they did then and what they were doing next, and you can understand all the flash forwards and flashbacks, you can get a little lost. One thing that the makers of the Saw films seem to forget is the timeless, you know, storytelling adage that, you know, every story is somebody's first story. Every movie is somebody's first movie. Not everyone that's going to sit down to watch Saw 5 has seen Saw 1, 2, 3, and 4, you know, 100 times and knows all the connections. You know, some people like myself have only seen all the sequels once in the theaters. I watched Saw 1, you know, in the theaters during its run, and, you know, several times on DVD afterwards. But, you know, all of the sequels, you know, I just haven't been a huge fan of, you know. But, you know, maybe I am getting older. Maybe, you know, it's a sign of the times, you know. It's time to move on, you know. Let a new generation, you know, find something to enjoy and point out for the way to the future. But, yeah, I'm glad they keep coming out. I'm glad they're making money, you know, because they're good, brutal, nasty horror films. They're not necessarily good stories or great stories or entertaining, but, you know, they connect with a generation. They, you know, they make them feel some kind of emotion that makes these people want to go out and keep seeing it. And lastly, what I like about the Saw films is I think they've kind of mastered the gimmick of having the great scene. That's one of the things, you know, that's important to any kind of horror film, aside from, you know, just scaring the crap out of your audience, is having that scene that people talk about afterwards, that they go to school the next day or they go to work the next day and they talk about what happened. You know, oh, it has this guy, he has to cut his ankle off to get out of these, you know, shackles. You know, that's what the Saw series has mastered. They've mastered having at least one or two of those scenes in every movie where they make you talk about it the next day. They make you tell your friends about it, make you tell your family about it, and they make people want to go and see it. So you know what everybody's talking about. So I don't know. Maybe the series isn't for me. Maybe I'm getting old because I don't find them scary. I do find them entertaining on a gory level, but the plots are convoluted. The characters are unlikable. You're generally stuck with them. They're usually, aside from Jigsaw, all the other characters are basically one or two dimensional. You have no idea what they want in their lives, if they have boyfriends, girlfriends, wives, husbands, you know, what their ambitions are, what their dreams are. I mean, they're all expert engineers and mechanics and can build these, you know, bizarre Rube Goldberg machines and have infinite amount of spare time to build them, you know, and I'm lucky if I can put together a coffee table by reading the instructions. So on the old Streebo Screamometer, I have to give Saw 5 a 5 out of 10, appropriately enough, 5 out of 10. So I'm not recommending it. Check it out if you enjoy the series, you know. Otherwise, I'd say pass on it. Go see Quarantine instead, or there's a few other new flicks coming out, and maybe you'll dig those. So anyway, hope you had a happy Halloween, and we'll see you next time, MVP.